Hello everybody and welcome back to Roadrunner Training Projects. As you may know, unless you live underneath a rock, COVID-19 has hit the US pretty hard. So that's not really new news. Kind of been happening in China and Italy and Spain, kind of working its way over to us with a couple cases. Now it's starting to take off a little bit. We're seeing the impact a little bit if you go to the grocery store or any place like that. You're going to see everything's cleaned out, the toilet paper is all gone. Everybody's just been hoarding the toilet paper. I think it's a little unnecessary, but we'll kind of go into a little bit more in the video. In terms of running in athletics and sports, is the NCAA has canceled all of their seasons. So running, basketball, they're like swimming, any sports that are going on right now. And then also we have professional sports canceling, like soccer. We have baseball's not even starting, basketball, stuff like that. We also have the high school sports out in Colorado, at least. We're suspending the season until April 6th. And then we also have local 5Ks, 10Ks being canceled all over the place as well. There are very few of them that are still going on. Any major events where you have a lot of people in one spot are being canceled. Just kind of a nip in the bud before it really gets bad. So that's kind of what hopefully is going to happen as this kind of progresses on and hopefully blows right over. If you're young and healthy, you probably have a very low risk of dying from disease or any severe side effects. So don't freak out. Don't be stocking up on all the toilet paper and going to the grocery store and just buying everything. Make sure you still have good amount of groceries at your house because everybody's going crazy in the stores. Apparently from what I've been hearing, some stores even in Chicago are shutting down. So, just make sure you have a good amount of stuff on hand. You don't want to just be going crazy. They're going to restock all this stuff. Like, they're not shutting down everything right now. And even in Italy, they actually still have grocery stores open, from what I understand. If you currently are struggling with money, I would definitely start saving. Only really spend money on essential items. The economy's taking a hit. We're all struggling a little bit more. If you're pretty well off on money, you can still continue your normal habits and maybe just go more online with products. That will help feed the economy, from what I understand from economics, but pretty basic understanding. Alright, let's get to more about what this channel is all about. So, not necessarily a health channel or me telling you about economics, because it's not my strong suit at all. But let's get to the running aspects and how this is going to actually affect us in running. Generally, with sickness, we want to take time off if the symptoms are below the neck and head area. And if it's in the head area and sinus area, maybe some phlegm in the throat, then you're most likely going to be fine training through those sicknesses. But when it is below that chest and neck area, like typically what COVID-19 is, or coronavirus is, typically you're going to get those like lung symptoms and stuff like that. It can be different for everybody. But you want to start taking time off. So we don't want to be training through this. It's not an exception. So we want to definitely take maybe that, they're saying like 14-day quarantine period. You probably want to take that off. If you start to feel better, give it just a couple days. So if you watch my last video, you'll actually see this where I took some time off, but I didn't maybe take enough time off, and now I've been kind of feeling those side effects 3 or 4 weeks later. I'm finally getting better, and it's been a couple weeks though, so it can definitely take you out a little bit longer than you'd want to. So be cautious about it, and definitely don't expose yourself to other people and go to like the gym or something and run on the treadmill. Even if your gym, I doubt your gym might not even be open. So that's just like a petri dish almost for bacteria, germs, and stuff like that. So, alright guys, understand COVID-19 and coronavirus is a big deal right now, but there's no need to stop life and training right now. We just need to take some precautions. So if we're looking at precautions to take, we need to make sure we're washing our hands first. If you watch any of the social media where they're making a big deal about all this, they will mention though that you need to be washing your hands and kind of getting in between the fingers, and then also just in the palms and everything too, just for like 20 seconds or so. And then we also want to be taking in a good amount of vitamin C that will help kind of bolster that immune system and kind of help you fight off that virus as well. We also want to disinfect common surfaces that are commonly touched, like door handles and Anything that we're going to be using a lot, like in the store, for example, we use the keyboard quite a bit when we're ringing people up, so we want to disinfect that. The treadmill needs to be disinfected, and so on. Just think about where you're normally touching a lot, like the refrigerator door handle you normally think about, or the microwave handle, any kind of handles really. I mean, those are obviously made for your hands. So, and then we also want to be coughing into our elbows. Like this, we don't want to be. I see some people who are walking around just coughing out in the air, and that's one of my pet peeves actually. Just seeing that without the COVID-19, it's just an easy way to spread flu and viruses as well. All right, guys. Another important thing is make sure we're getting enough sleep. So sleep has been shown in studies to actually help quite a bit in reducing the risk of getting any kind of viruses or getting sick in general. So essentially, if you're getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep is typically what they recommend. It also reduces injuries as well, so you guys should be doing that anyways. I mean, outside of just avoiding sickness. Another important thing is social distancing. So it needs to be about 6 feet. Doesn't be exact, but I feel like a lot of people don't actually know how far 6 feet is, and they think it's a little bit closer, in my opinion. At least from what I've asked some people. Like at my work, when we were setting benches and everything, people thought 6 feet was a lot closer, and we actually ended up lengthening those benches and separating them out even more. So when we're sitting at one end of the bench and the customer sitting at the other, we all have a minimum of 6 feet. Makes it a little bit harder to hand shoes, but we can make it work. We just lean forward a little bit more. Maybe we have to get up out of our seat. All right, another important thing: don't stress out about this. Studies have also shown that stressing out increases your likelihood of getting sick as well. Your body doesn't differentiate from athletic stress and mental stress, or physiological stress and mental stress. It's almost the same thing to the body. So essentially, when you're working out hard, you're doing a lot of extra physical activity, typically you're at risk of getting more sicknesses, and people you probably have noticed this, you get sick more. Same thing with this stressing out about the COVID-19 and going to the grocery stores and trying to stock up and always worrying about all this stuff. That's actually increasing your likelihood because, one, you put yourself out there in the public. Two, you're stressing about all of this stuff that you don't need to be stressing about as well. Another thing is this virus does not kill very many people. It is deadly, and we don't want it to get out of hand, but it's more for the health care and hospital bed situations. So essentially, we don't want the hospital beds to fill up, that we don't want to reach our cap on the healthcare as well. And then also, we want to avoid those older people and maybe people who are more at risk with respiratory issues, or people who will go to the hospital on a regular basis, or doctor's office on a regular basis. They're already working on a vaccine. I believe they're at like the end stages of almost having it out, and about to start animal testing, I believe. I have to double check that. But yeah, they're hard at work at the vaccine. Funding is going to be probably one of the limiting factors on that. But we're in a better situation than we would have been in the past. So essentially, we can skip a couple steps in making vaccines and actually go and shorten that time down quite a bit. So it used to take, I think some vaccines took like 10 years, 5 to 10 years to even make them. But now we can reduce that down to a couple of years pretty easily. So we're in a good spot right there. I think this will also settle down after a lot of people are getting the virus, and then you also build an immunity to viruses once you get them. Even they can mutate or whatnot as well, but I don't think I think that's going to slow down a little bit after we do we control the spread of the virus as well, and by quarantining and taking these extra precautions. All right, let's just make sure we're being decent human beings. So we'll just help each other out. If somebody in need, help them out. Everybody's going through a stressful time, so if we're always helping each other out, we can reduce some of that stress. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the stress can contribute to the sickness as well. So we want to really just relieve a lot of stress on our neighbors, our co-workers, random people we don't even know. So yeah, just be a decent human being out there, and we'll get through this together. Alright guys, if you want an expert's opinion, I recommend checking out Dr. Mike's channel, and I'll actually post the video link to the COVID video he did, and then also his channel in the description below. So if you want more information, just check out my description, and I'll have it all posted in there for you. So I'm going to go over really quick what we're doing at the running stores to kind of combat this virus and kind of try to keep ourselves in business here. So essentially, we're disinfecting everything. That's a good starting point. We're all washing our hands pretty frequently, making sure that we're washing them for 20 seconds, getting in between, as I mentioned earlier, in between the fingers and everything like that. We're also separating those benches, the treadmills that in heavy use in running stores, so we're really wiping those down, just disinfecting that. We stopped signing receipts. We used to sign a paper receipt with a pen. We stopped doing that because we don't want people touching that pen and those receipts as much anymore. So kind of just go into more of a credit based approach. And then with money, whenever we're handling money, we have to wash our hands. We have a hand sanitizer out on the counter right when they're checking out, so they can just hand sanitize after they leave. And then we're also going to start doing what we're calling curbside pickup and drop off. So that's going to be an interesting approach to run specialty. So essentially with run specialty, you're always trying to get fit for shoes, so we're going to try to stay open to do that. But if we can't do that, we're actually going to do the curbside pickup. And also, this is probably more for those customers who already know what they're going to get. So if they're looking for example, like the launch, Brooks launch, so we'll just take that shoe, ring them up over the phone, and grab their credit card information, put the receipt in the box and all that, pop into our car, deliver it as long as it's somewhat close to our store. And then my boss actually said she's going to kind of pay us or reimburse us for the gas money too that we're going to be spending delivering shoes that we did not originally sign up for. But I mean, it's understandable. Right now we got to do everything we can to keep ourselves working and in business. So running stores are taking precautions, so don't be afraid to go in the running store. And if you are, and you know what shoes you're going to get, and you're in the Lakewood area, for example, we're doing that curbside pickup. I don't know if any other running stores are going to be doing that, but yeah, check it out online. Runners Roost Lakewood. If you need curbside pickup, the number is going to be 303-991-1851. And if check with your local running store, see if they'll actually do that as well. Maybe they'll ship the shoe to you. So I recommend not going to the running stores if you don't need to. So just try to avoid public places like that if you can. I mean, a lot of places deliver. All right, guys, keep in mind that the media makes a ton of money off of these stories. So they pretty much make money off overdoing stories is kind of the way I look at it. So don't be freaked out because media is always talking about how bad this virus is. Take your precautions, do those things, don't stress. That's going to be the most important thing. Just try to keep your normal routine going. So if you run the mornings, get up and run the mornings as long as you don't have the actual virus. As I mentioned earlier, we don't want, if you have the symptoms below the head and neck, we don't want to be running. But yeah, get out there, run, keep training. I know your races might be canceled, but we got to keep going at it, keep training, start training for fall, start training for summer. I think by summer this might blow over. A lot of these viruses actually blow over by the summer. So yeah, check out Dr. Mike, and again, the info's in the description. If you want more information on all this, he's an actual doctor. He knows his stuff. And then, we'll go into my week now. All right, everybody, going into my week now. Essentially, I spent all week kind of getting ready for our home meet, which is supposed to be on Friday, but it actually did not happen because of the cancellation or the suspension of high school sports that actually happened that Thursday night. They suspended high school sports, or CHASA, the collar governing body for high school sports, essentially. They suspended the table stakes, so had to cancel our home meet. All right, everybody. So essentially, I spent my whole week getting ready for our home meet on Friday. That home meet did not happen. It was actually canceled as they suspended high school sports the night before home meet. So I got everything ready. We were just about ready. I had to get a couple more things done that night and in the morning. But essentially, suspended it that night. So we had to cancel our meet. Didn't happen. I mean, I guess I learned a lot about how to set up a home meet for head coaching, but it was kind of also a disappointment that I'm not going to dwell on too much and not focus on too much. But essentially, for that home meet, the training for my hurdlers looked like a lot of technique work, some workouts for physiology, and just kind of getting them ready to race quickly. But it was kind of more of a base phase again. Try to do some longer reps at a slower pace or percentage of max. but a lot of technique. So getting over hurdles, going out of the blocks, especially for the men with the higher hurdle height, we had to really work on just bringing that. For my new hurdlers, I had to work on starting them low and then kind of bumping the hurdle up one notch at a time, because they have to be ready to go over the max height. Because in the race, they don't obviously don't drop the hurdle height for them, so I had to work them up to the higher heights. They didn't have the best form over them, but they're getting over them, so they could actually finish the race. So that was what we pretty much did all week in terms of my hurdle athletes. All right, guys, so I started my week off with more of an aerobic workout instead of an anaerobic workout, which I did last week. So essentially the reasoning behind that is I was feeling pretty tired at the beginning of this week, so I actually switched my week around, which I'll do every once in a while, to incorporate something that I can recover from a little bit easier. So with aerobic work, it's a little bit easier to recover from. It doesn't put as much of a stress on your muscles and other systems as well, just the aerobic system, which is very good at recovering. So I started with 3 miles at aerobic threshold and went into 3 by 1 miles at anaerobic threshold. So pretty light effort, not building up a lot of lactic acid until the 3 by 1 mile, and then that's when I kind of hit on that anaerobic threshold. So kind of right in that line right there. And then actually went into my medium long run on Wednesday, and then Thursday another pretty easy mileage day, with Friday being track workout. So essentially I was hitting rhythm 200s at mile pace. So essentially just kind of getting that running economy for the mile, and then some quicker 200s at the end to kind of get some turnover going as well, and teach my body to kind of really work at that mile pace, but then also be able to go a little bit quicker. And then Saturday, another easy day, actually really easy day. I was planning on doing a split run, but I actually canceled my afternoon run, so I only did 6 miles in the morning. I was going to do 6 miles at night to kind of keep my mileage up there, but since I've been feeling kind of tired this week, probably just due to the extra stress of more anaerobic work and that quicker stuff, I just took that out, and then actually did a long run on Sunday, so just a 16-mile long run, which I actually felt pretty good for. So I actually averaged, I think, 6:27 pace at 5,000 feet of elevation. So yeah, pretty good day on my day-to-day actually. And then on the mile, or on the mileage for the week, I was actually sitting a little bit lower than I wanted to, which was originally supposed to be 80. I think I hit around like 75 from my mileage this week. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Catch me next week, and make sure you like, subscribe, and drink some more kombucha.